What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about Outriders. The demo released on February 25th, and I've been able to put a few hours into it and experience everything that it has to offer. Now, keep in mind, this is a demo, so there are some issues to be expected, but overall, my experience with Outriders has been a pretty positive one. As always, if you enjoy this video, or if you learned anything, be sure to drop a like, and if you're not already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our new content. Now, Outriders is a story-driven action RPG set on the planet of Enoch. Your character gains the power to wield devastating abilities in the form of 4 classes: the Trickster, Pyromancer, Technomancer, and Devastator. Once you complete the prologue, the entire demo can be played either solo or with friends. There's also crossplay support, so you can group up with your friends on other platforms, including the Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4, PC, and Stadia. Now, many people have tried to compare Outriders to Destiny, but in my opinion, it's more comparable to The Division or Anthem, with hints of Borderlands. Outriders is not an MMO, it's a co-op RPG looter game that allows you and your friends to grind missions, earn loot, create builds, and experience a complete story. This is not a live service game, and there's no plans to support it as one. Outriders is being shipped as a complete experience on day 1 with no 10-year plans, and I think this is the right move for this game, as many have tried to compete with Destiny, but none have succeeded so far. Now, when you boot up the demo, you'll be able to experience the prologue and a few side quests, as well as creating different profiles to try out each unique class. All the progress that you make in the demo will carry over to the full game, and there's no time limits. So as many players are currently doing, you can farm side missions and level up your world tiers in order to earn some pretty sweet loot, including legendary items. The story itself, in my opinion, has a lot of potential. The voice acting is actually pretty good, and the dialogue, while sometimes cheesy, does have a bit of charm. I'm definitely interested in learning more about this world and the characters in it, so we'll have to wait and see once the full game comes out on April 1st. Now, in terms of gameplay, the controls are pretty smooth and responsive. I did notice moments of moving from cover to cover that felt slow and unresponsive, but for the most part, the experience of using different guns and comboing my abilities felt really great. Outriders is meant to be played with an aggressive playstyle, as each class has the ability to heal when you get kills in close range. Now, as someone who enjoys playing the sniper role and playing at a distance, I sometimes felt like I had no choice but to close the gap with my enemies, especially when I found myself playing on higher world tiers, as a lot of the enemies were way more challenging, and if I wasn't able to secure some kills at close range, I did find myself dying a lot. Now, sniping is still pretty fun and definitely rewarding when you can land those headshots, so I don't want to make it sound like it's not an optimal playstyle, or that it's one that you won't have fun trying out. I'm sure there's going to be some sick sniper rifles with some crazy abilities to appeal to my playstyle down the line, but just starting out, I just wanted to make a quick note of that for anybody who likes to play at a distance like myself. Now, after hours of shooting and spamming abilities, something that I really appreciate about this game is the balance. I never felt like my guns were inferior to my abilities and vice versa. The challenge of world tiers and aggressive enemy AI lead to some chaotic gunfights that are extremely satisfying. And speaking of challenging enemies, the way to earn some of the best loot in the game is by increasing your world tiers. The harder the challenge, the better the loot. And so far, the loot in Outriders is worth grinding for. I haven't earned any legendaries myself, but I've seen a few pictures of them posted, and I know I definitely want to get my hands on them. One of the downsides of looter games is that people will always find the easiest way to earn things. And most of the time, easy can equate to boring in my opinion. Now, as a fan of games like this, replaying activities is a defining factor, which isn't the issue for me. My issue is that having these easy methods of farming breaks the engagement in other activities of the game and allows players to build themselves up through minimal challenge by manipulating RNG. Now, yes, there's no competitive modes and you're free to do what you want, but I'm pretty sure the developers will more than likely find a way to patch these things out. I don't want the best way for me to earn loot to be simply just shooting in a hallway for hours on end. Now, in terms of the structure of Outriders, from what I've experienced so far, the game is centered around completing the main campaign and doing side missions. Majority of the challenge and replayability will come from replaying those side missions and repeating certain points in the story. The developers did say that there would be some sort of end game to challenge you, but we have yet to see more information about that. When new information comes about, I'll be sure to link that down below in the description. Now, I can't go too in depth on the performance of the game, as I'm only able to play it on my Xbox Series X, but from what I've played so far, the game for the most part runs pretty smooth. There are some moments where you experience hitches with transitions into and out of dialogue and cutscenes, along with occasional texture pop-in. In terms of combat, I did experience some issues where my character felt unresponsive when trying to move into and out of cover, and this could especially be an issue with the style of combat in the game, which has you moving around at a fast pace. Another issue that I had was with matchmaking with my friends. It was pretty inconsistent for the most part, but I only had a little bit of hands-on experience. So if you experienced the same thing or if you experienced something different, definitely let me know down below in the comments. Now another issue that I had was the design choice of having segmented spaces, similar to something like what Anthem had. For example, as you're moving throughout the game, if you want to open up a door and enter a new area, you get hit with a loading screen or a short cutscene of your character opening a door and then you load in afterwards. Although it would be really nice to seamlessly just move throughout the world, obviously it seems like there were some technical limitations. Now moving forward, a couple other things that I noticed in the demo that I hope get patched in the full game was, first off, almost every cutscene that we experienced in the demo had a crazy amount of camera shake. I think we can do with them reducing that a bit, as well as reducing the amount of motion blur that's in the game. At this point in time, the motion blur seems like it's turned way up, and if they can add some way for us to turn it off or adjust it, that would definitely be a welcome change. Now the last thing I know a lot of people want to know about is what resolution this game is running at, especially since it's available on many different platforms. Now the devs have stated that Outriders should be running at 4K 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X, S, PS5, and PC. The Xbox One X and PS4 Pro both run at 4K 30 FPS, and the Xbox One and PS4 run at 1080p 30 FPS. Now I don't have the tools to test the graphics and the frame rate of the game, but from the eye test, the game seemed to hold a stable frame rate throughout my playthrough on my Xbox Series X, with the exception of cutscenes which seem to be locked at 30 FPS. Altogether, I think Outriders is actually pretty fun. It has its technical issues, but none of them are game breaking in my opinion. If you haven't already, I definitely recommend trying out the demo before you make any purchase decisions. But personally, after putting some time into this game, I think I'll be picking it up when it comes out. If you want more Outriders coverage on top of the Destiny content we make on this channel, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. Also, like this video and help me in the YouTube algorithm, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I appreciate everyone's continued support on the channel, as we're now more than halfway to 1K subscribers on YouTube. If you want to chat with me live, you can catch me on Twitch every Tuesday. Link will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.